Lovely. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa, and warm welcome to the bigger program right here on KBN TV from Zambia's capital city, Lusaka. With me, Innocent P. You can simply call me IP. We are found on DSTV, channel 279, GoTV, channel 27, and also Topside Decoder, channel 102. Of course, you can follow the program via our social media platforms as KBN Facebook page and YouTube. Of course, we discuss a number of issues that pertains to the country's governance today on Wednesday, and some of the big stories that, of course, happened or took place or characterized as of today, the 17th of September 2025, is that of the Lungu family, who have also tried to go further and trying to appeal in the matter in which the Pretoria High Court of South Africa decided to dismiss the application for an appeal. And of course, information indicates that the Lungu family seem to be determined to proceed to another stage. Just in case you are not aware, but also remember, in the neighboring country of Malawi, the elections took place yesterday from 06 hours going up to 16 hours. And so far, we are talking about the 7 million plus people, 7.6 million people or voters who registered in that country, and they did and exercised their votes as of yesterday, and the counting has already started. So far, information indicates that the former president, in the name of Arthur Peter Mutharika, seems to be sitting on a very comfortable seat as far as the votes, or rather the results are concerned. But of course, this is the information which is not yet, let me say, this information is an information which is not yet really official, in as much as who is winning the elections or who is going to win the election, because the results as to being released in a bid in the according to the Malawi Electoral Commission of Zambia. But the former president in that country, Arthur Peter Mutharika, like I did mention earlier on, seems to be sitting on a very comfortable seat. Now, in Malawi, they had about 17 presidential candidates with a single woman who is a former president of Malawi in the name of Madam Joyce Banda, who at some point served as vice president, and subsequently she became president of that country. And after losing power, of course, there was, of course, some few changes that took place. But alas, she's one of those that, of course, have contested the elections in that country. So we'll be able to say, and of course, we'll continue updating you in terms of what will be happening, what will be coming forward from Malawi. We've got our staff in that area or jurisdiction, that region, in the name of Chanda de Klerk, who keeps on informing us and you, the viewers out here. Let's get into the happenings in Zambia. Remember that Zambia will be having its elections in the next 7 to 8 months from now, which will be 2026. And it will be at that time that Zambians again will decide whether to maintain the UPND and President Hakainde as president, or perhaps they will be able to bring in a different political party in Zambia. We discussed governance in the midst of a divided opposition in Zambia. I have in the studio a well-known face by now in the landscape of Zambia, where governance or politics is concerned, a man who is sometimes very controversial on certain matters. He doesn't shy away from calling a spade a spade. He's, of course, the person who is serving in the Socialist Party as one of the top senior members in that jurisdiction. But of course, he's one of the people that has rubbed shoulders with world leaders, and of course he is one of those who are in the Pan-Africanism movement. He is a Pan-Africanist. I should make mention that. Kelvin Kaunda, he joins me on set. Good evening, comrade, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and good evening to you, and good evening to the viewers out there.
Good to see you. And how have you been?
Well, under the circumstances, we are okay. It's nice to be here.
Right.
Sure.
It's been long indeed from the time you are here.
It's been ages.
How is Socialist Party doing?
Well, we are doing well, and as you may be aware, tomorrow there is an impending by-election, and our hopes are that we will be able to do better than good enough.
Right.
Because we've done what we needed to do, and the Zambian people have reacted to our message, and we have no doubt in our mind that tomorrow's outcome will be better than good enough.
The results will be better than good enough. Your political party, Socialist Party, without any doubt, you've been very consistent in participating in these by-elections. From the time the SP was formed in around 2018, thereabout, you've been participating in all these by-elections. So far, you are one opposition political party from the Patriotic Front, which has got quite a number of ward councillors across the country. You've done well in that area.
Oh, thank you very much.
Let's come to the parliamentary area. You seem to have struggled to secure a seat.
Well, we've put it on record that parliamentary by-election normally advantages the ruling party.
Right.
One may argue that, but how come? How is it that we've been able to see some of the opposition political parties, particularly the PF, under the NCP securing some victory?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean the Petauke by-election was peculiar for all intents and purposes. But generally, you notice that even in places where the PF or the NCP is strong, because of the arrogance of the incumbency, the PF and NCP have been able to lose those seats, even if they were held by them. During the by-election, you find that the ruling party is able to summon all the resources readily available to them. Talk about the intelligence, talk about the financial resource, talk about the human capital, and so on and so forth. Sometimes they intend to deploy some violence in those spaces, working to their advantage, and so on and so forth. And all these factors benefit the party in power. So all in all, we are saying that by-elections are not the best indicators to assess the popularity of any political party. And this is the more reason why, if you check or if you look at the performance of the PF, what is in government in relation to the by-election, they performed extremely well. And yet, few months down the line or few weeks down the line, they were able to stumble even in places where they had registered victory. So all we are saying is, as a party, we are doing very well. Yes, we've struggled to get a parliamentary seat during the by-election, but it goes without saying that we did well in the 2021 general election, even if we had a very short instinct from the time the party was established to the point of election.
Should we expect perhaps a different pattern this time around? Maybe the dynamic might change under the UPND. The statistics you've given, they are correct statistics, but when you sit back and you listen to the UPND today, they will tell you that, to the contrary, these seats we have secured, it is basically the confidence the Zambian people have or still have in the UPND government. So come next year, we've done a lot where CDF is concerned. Just as of today, the president was handing over some CDF ambulances across the country. They have talked about the free education, quite a number. They have talked about, the vehicles which were procured. When it comes to the mining sector, HH will tell you that I'm the only leader or my administration which has made these the mines, back to life again. We have revamped the mines. Can we say the trend or the pattern might change? The dynamics may not be the same as you have explained.
Well, it goes without saying again that history has demonstrated that by-election are not the best instruments to use in measuring the popularity of the party ahead of the general election. Will the trend change? Yes, actually, we're expecting a huge, some huge surprises getting into the 2026 general election. there's one thing that is very clear from the general public, and that is the silence. And unlike the Malawian colleagues who are very, who are quick to register their distaste about an issue, Zambian are a clear opposite of the Malawian colleagues. For Zambians, when they're not happy about a situation, they would rather keep quiet about it and wait for an appointed time to speak out or to exercise their inalienable rights, you know. So we're expecting a very we're expecting some surprises in 2026 in relation to the outcome of the general election, and I'm sure even the UPND as a party in power alive to the fact that there'll be few surprises. Why are we expecting these surprises? Number one, some of the things that our colleagues promised the Zambian people have failed to deliver. Secondly, they also have their own in-house issues to deal with, like any other political party. One of those is the fight against the emerging leadership in UPND versus the Stone Age leadership in UPND. We've seen some of the members of parliament who have been in parliament for 30 years. They still want to recontest their seats. And the question is, are they the only human being in those spaces? I mean, a good leader is never successful until the successor succeeds. That's the last time I checked. So it is surprising that some of the leaders who have been in parliament for ages past who still want to perpetuate their stay in parliament. This is something that is very strange, and I hold the view that moving forward, I mean, every leader with their sort needs to come to a point of realization that there is a term to everything. Everything, there's a season. And any other thing has got an expiry date.
So those surprises will be against the UPND.
Most likely,
to the advantage of the UPND.
Most likely to their disadvantage, because if they don't hearken to the voice of reason, the chances are that some of their members will be able to contest as independent member of parliament, and they'll be able to carry the day at the end of the day.
A few days ago, or rather last week, President Hakainde opened the 5th of the 13th National Assembly, and I think he did highlight quite a number of issues, fundamental issues this time around, when he was more like giving an account, a review of what his government has done and how his government intends to transform this country going forward. What were the keynotes you picked from there?
Well, one of the greatest thing I picked from there is that at least the speech had come to an end. Just like we had anticipated, we didn't expect anything unique from His Excellency the President. You know, when you have not delivered on some of your commitment, it becomes extremely difficult for any leader to bring, to speak to some new issues, because you are still engulfed in the old issues which we have not been able to deliver on. So we already knew that there would be nothing that new that would come out of His Excellency's last speech. Moreover, as you may be aware, this is his last speech technically, or by default, because the next parliament will sit for less than 2 to 3 months. So basically, this is his last full sake of parliament that he was addressing. Most of the issues that the president raised, I have left the Zambian people wondering, do we have leadership in this country? Number one, I want to speak to the issues of energy. Yeah. You know, not too long ago, His Excellency the President had the press briefing at State House, during which he told the Zambian people that his leadership, and when I talk about his leadership, I'm talking about him and as well as the entire cabinet, had resolved the issue of road shading. I am on record then to have said, look, you don't resolve the issue of road shading without doing anything. During that particular press briefing, he did highlight that because of their hard work, because of them breaking in the night, they had been able to that they've been able to clear the challenge of road shading and so on and so forth. But here we are today, I mean, the issue of load shedding is still well and alive. It still lives with us. Even when I was coming here, actually, I missed the place here because the entire city is dark. I don't even know how you're managing to have this light in your studios. But one thing I know is that perhaps you've resorted to some battery or some small genset, which is also expensive, thereby making the cost of running the station extremely expensive. Like any other business, the challenge of load shedding is eating all businesses, despite the size, whether small, medium, or big enterprises. This has greatly affected all sectors. And I also wanted to speak to the issue of which the president highlighted, that his leadership or his administration is resolved to increase our economy, or rather grow our economy. Maybe that's the right term. Yes. Being able to grow our economy. But the question which arises is, how do you grow an economy in the absence of energy? Every economy's backbone is the energy sector, whether manufacturing, whether SME, whether in a service industry. Energy is critical. So we are told that the economy of this country is growing at a percentage of about 6% in terms of our GDP. But the question which begs answers is, how is it that our economy is growing when we are faced with energy crisis? If I was privileged to be in a place where His Excellency is, Dr. Hakainde Hichilema, I would actually was going to be compelled to declare the energy challenge as a crisis, so that we can invite as many interventions as possible. But I'm also happy, other than just having to talk about the negative part of his speech, I'm also happy of the fact that in the final analysis, His Excellency was able to admit the fact that they don't have solutions to the challenges of our time, thereby extending an invitation to the political parties, the private sector, to be able to bring forward solutions in terms of how best we can resolve the energy crisis. That is a strength on his part, and I want to encourage His Excellency the President to continue admitting, to say he does not know how to deal with certain matters. It's not a sign of weakness as a leader when you admit your inadequacies. Sometimes it's a sign of strength. So, yes, he said a lot of things during his speech to Parliament, but there's always something positive that we can point to, and that is his ability to be able to admit that his administration lacks capacity in resolving the challenges of our time.
Not that he was just being careful, giving maybe an ultimate answer, or rather deadline as to when the load shedding will come to an end. This time around, he said we will not promise further. There are a lot of works in the background which is going on to resolve the load shedding. So I think that is something that could be applauded, right?
Yes, it's being applauded in that he has reaffirmed. He has reaffirmed the fact that his administration don't have adequate capacity to deal with this particular challenge. And so he's inviting the political parties, the business community, the investors community, and other players to say, come on board and help me to resolve this challenge. And we told him that, look, Your Excellency, you don't have capacity to resolve this. And we made serious proposals to this administration. But unfortunately, they thought we were politicking. And yet we had solutions in terms of how we can deal with the challenges of our time. And I hope that the Zambian people come next year, 2026, they'll give us an opportunity to preside over the affairs of this country, because we have what we consider to be solutions to a number of these challenges that we are faced with as a country.
We've endured the load shedding, we've been in the load shedding for the last 1 year plus now as a country. Quite unprecedented, and basically this is what a viewer out there watching the program and a voter who would want to go and cast their vote next year, they are looking forward to which political party, which leader does the SP has the capacity or possesses the capacity to resolve these problems. Because you've been around in the politics of this country, in the governance of this country. It feels nice when you politicians begin to assure the Zambian people that when you vote for us, we're going to do this and that. If we can bring all the promises of President Hakainde Hichilema and how he proposed to deal with the load shedding today, I think he can stand out as one of the best, campaigner of this country.
Look, I don't agree with the assumption that when you push lies up above the truth, then that amounts to you being a good campaigner. The Zambian people are intelligent, and then we, in a political space, we can even afford to take their intelligence for granted. It is often said that ababu fibala yefingi. Normally, when you hear people over-promising, just know that much of what they are promising will not be fulfilled. And this is a classic example of His Excellency's position. He promised the Zambian people a lot of things. How much of his promises has been delivered? Very negligible, if any. I'm at a loss to think of any item which has been adequately addressed by this administration. The number of things which they had promised the Zambian people have not been delivered. And so, what have they resorted to? They have now resorted to a situation where they are able to speak to their own success story, which is very strange. Comrade, when you are successful, allow others to speak to your success. Takwaba inkalata iberenga yeka. Mupamboyo. So when you write a letter and you find a letter reading itself, then you know there's something wrong here. The Zambian people want to interpret, want to score, want to assess whether or not the UPND have delivered to their expectation. It's not for the UPND to come on this platform or any other platform and tell the Zambian people they have delivered beyond expectation. No. It is them, our students, the lecturers or the markers or the assessors in this process are the Zambian people who are going to have a final say whether or not the performance of the UPND has been above board. So it is strange when you see a number of our colleagues going far and wide, sharing a message that they have over-delivered. One wonders, why are they in the panic mode? Let them.
They have performed far much better than the PF in the last 4 years. They've been in power. That's what I've been taught.
That is a discourse for the public to be able to assess. Is it true that they have done better than the PF? The public are better placed to give us scores in terms of how the UPND have performed against the performance of the PF. But one thing that I know, and I know this out of conviction, is that the Zambian people are quite unhappy with the performance of the UPND. And the UPND have an opportunity between now and August to reevaluate their performance and where they find themselves wanting to push themselves up.
How do you intend to resolve this issue if voted into office as SP? Let's come next year.
I think we number one, when we talk about youth unemployment, we've been very clear. There's no way we're going to create jobs using the public platform. It's almost an impossible task. There are only very limited jobs when it comes to public jobs. Greater economies and big economies have succeeded on the backbone of small and medium enterprises. So what we're going to do at the instance of us being elected into office is to create an enabling environment for the small and medium enterprises to thrive or to succeed. We'll deal with the issues of the tax. Today, the taxes are more punitive on SMEs than the multinational corporations. This is the reason why this administration or this government has the latitude to give tax concessions to multinational corporations such as the mine and others. And yet, they are not in a space where they're able to engage with us, with our small and medium enterprises. As long as we do not have, we do not create an enabling environment for the small and medium enterprises to thrive, we will not be able to achieve the youth unemployment. The youth unemployment will perpetually be on the rise. And the jobs that we promise as politicians to the young people will never be delivered. The second thing we'll do is to introduce reforms in terms of the banking sector. Right now, the majority of our banks are Shylocks. They are not progressive. And there's no nation that gets to turn around their economy if the financial instruments are not in their hands. So one of the things that we will propose to do is to ensure that we've got, the state and the Zambian people are able to participate in terms of the financial space. You can't have a situation where all the major banks in your country are foreign owned, and yet the financial sector is key in terms of you being able to drive success within your economy. So we will introduce major reforms in the financial sector so that we are able to propel access to financing to those who are in a space where they're able to innovate and create. So if you have an idea, comrade, how would you commercialize that idea if you have no access to finance? And also, we'll deal with the punitive interest rates. Today, our interest rates are ranging from 25 to 30. These are very punitive interest rates, and there's no way SME can thrive under such an environment. So we'll lower down the cost of borrowing so that even our young people who want to innovate and create, they can easily access finance at a low cost, thereby enhancing on their creativity and innovation. In the agriculture sector, we're going to propose serious reforms. You can't only be considering the aspect of raising the floor price for maize, where and hence you're not investing in terms of the farming, the production of the farming inputs.
Right.
For instance, how much has been our investment in the nitrogen chemicals of Zambia, Nika fuel? You can't continue increasing the raw material and expect the price of meal to come down. What we must be able to deal with right now is the price of fertilizer. The moment we lower the cost of fertilizer, ultimately the cost of a bag of maize will come down. When the raw material comes down, ultimately the price of meal will equally come down. That's how we deal with these things. If only the UPND was able to deal with these challenges in this way, definitely they were going to deliver on the 50 kwacha that promised the Zambian people in relation to the bag of meal. But today we are sitting in a space where there is a rise in terms of the cost of living. I can go on and go on.
You can go on and go on. I agree with you. But you've mentioned something very important, and the farmers are watching out there. I remember very well that even when the UPND were in the opposition, President Hakainde drove that message, speaking to the farmer out there, that this time around you have to vote for a fellow farmer. I've been in the farming sector. I have demonstrated, and hence when you put me in State House, the farmers are going to be empowered. I'm going to turn farming as a business. That's what the head of state now spoke about. You've mentioned about the floor price and everything like that, a conversation that I think I've been having for over the years with the different political parties. How do you intend to deal with this issue of the government through FRA, for example, being the ones, coming up with the purchasing price, as it were, instead of a buyer, rather a seller or a producer out there who is a farmer, to be the one determining how much they would want to sell their product, which is a bag of maize. Hence, theirs to produce, they package it, later on, here comes a buyer, and the buyer says, hold on a bit, this is how much I'm going to be buying your maize in the name of FRA.
We were going to restructure FRA.
Right.
We claim that we are a free market economy. Now, if we are a free market economy, our economy must be informed by the rule of supply and demand.
Right.
It's not for the consumer of our product to be able to ascertain the price for our commodities. We find it strange as socialists that the consumer should be the one who will have the latitude or to be able to come up or to fix the price for the commodity which is being sold to them. The same thing goes to the mining sector. Look, we produce our minerals, And yet the prices for our minerals is determined in London. Look, in this time and age, when our people are a bit more informed, when information can be accessed right at our fingertips, how is it possible that we'll give upon our right to be able to determine the price for our own commodity which we are producing? I don't think this is how it ought to be. And we need to put a stop to this. The farmers understands what has been their input. Let's give them the latitude to be able to ascertain the price for their commodity. It's not for the government entity to tell them, look, this year we only buy your maize at 200 kwacha. No, tell them, look, you have the latitude to price your commodity as you wish. And don't only focus on the Zambian market. You can focus on the regional market. You can focus on the global, on the continental market. You can as well focus on the global market. It's a free market economy. Sell your commodity as you deem it fit, at the price you deem it fit. And it does not give FRA the latitude to be able to come up with the price for the commodity which has been produced by another party. That is tantamount to abuse.
Right. Let's come to the mining sector. I know we've been having conversations, you and I, around the mining sector and how, you know, you envision to transform the mining sector. You were one of the few politicians I remember very well when the story of Vedanta came up. You blatantly mentioned that categorically, you know, refused that, you know, Vedanta has no capacity to transform this or the mining sector. You gave examples on how broke Vedanta is. Where are we today when we are being told by the Minister of Mines that we are now back in the Champions League where the mining sector is concerned? What is your reflection in the last 4 years?
Look, when the minister says they are back in the Champions League, what kind of a Champions League is he addressing?
Transformation.
Is he look, even amongst failures, they are champions. They are actually, even amongst good leaders, they are leaders amongst them. So I don't know what the Honorable Minister is trying to address when he says we're back in the Champions League, because we told this administration that, look, you can't sustain a conversation with a gentleman who's broke. And we did mention that we had done our due diligence, and it was very clear from the position we are standing that Vendetta was incapable of turning around the economic fortunes on the Copper Belt. And true to our word, today our people are living in abject poverty. Today the anguish of our people is written on their faces. Today to have 3 meals on the Copper Belt is an achievement. Abululu besu, abantu besu, kwa kunchende ya migodi, bale shingwa na machushi haya lekana. Na wapele tulela ndaba innocent. Some of our relatives have gone to bed without, on an empty stomach. And yet our Minister of Minerals or Mines has a latitude to address the public and be able to state or to say that we're in the Champions League. Are you sure that when our people are struggling, to you interpret it as being in the Champions League? Are you sure when our young people in the Copper Belt have no job, for you that is that amounts to Champions League? Are you sure when our farmers can't even realize their investment from their farming activity, for you that is a Champions League? Look, let's not mock our people. Honorable Minister, Honorable Kabuswe, you've grown up in Chirabombwe. You are alive to the fact that our people today in Chirabombwe have no water, clean water. You are alive to the fact that some of these investors you've been sustaining have polluted the only source of drinking water for our people in the Copper Belt. And yet, all this to our Honorable Minister is fashionable. All this means development to Honorable Minister. All this is a success story that must be shared on the media platform. This is not the way to govern. This is not the way to lead. Our people deserves better. And we want to tell the Zambian people that we are ready for leadership come 2026. Try us. Do what the Malawian people have done. that a change is possible. That when our leaders are not able to perform, it's not about time. It's about their resolve and their commitment to deliver a service which is better than good enough.
Let's come to the fight against corruption. In the last 4 years of the UPND, I came up with a compilation of the people that so far are behind bars. Of course, I'll be able to take you through in terms of those names later on. But from a generic perspective, under the Socialist Party and you as one of the senior members in the SP, how would you peer review the UPND where corruption fight is concerned?
We've been very consistent and say, look, the fight against corruption is an evergreen subject. And it must be conflated with all forms of human honestness. We are disappointed that our colleagues have decided to segment the fight against the corruption. There is fight against corruption for the past leaders, right, and there's a fight to no corruption towards our leaders in parliament, aligned to UPND. There's a fight to no corruption, a fight to no corruption towards the UPND leadership, a fight against corruption towards the past leadership. There is no need to segment or the fight against corruption. Corruption is corruption, whether it involves our past leaders or it involves our current leaders. In fact, the current corruption is more detrimental, more damaging, more disastrous, is more of a danger than even past corruption, because that is historical corruption. But Zambian people have noticed. Look at the conviction. Look at the cases that are before our honorable courts. They only have to deal with the past corruption, historical corruption. When those in power are found in a space where they are wanting, our leaders are not careful enough to prosecute those cases. We in the Socialist Party have said it time without numbers, that we'll begin the fight against corruption with our own members. The first people that we're going to send to prison are our own members, just to try and demonstrate the seriousness that we attach towards the fight against corruption.
What do you mean there? Just clarify. Do you have members whom we have already identified as corrupt?
No, but look, we have no control when it comes to the appetite for our members in relationship to corruption. Right. Sometimes the people who are good, when they are given the power, or the instruments of power, they change. One or two, they may be bad eggs, and those will set them up as an example. Why is it that today the UPND don't have the courage to deal with the Sujilite case? People were arrested in Wapula. From the point of the arrest, we've not heard anything in terms of the court process. Has anything happened? The Honorable Minister for Wapula was fired for the allegation around Sujilite. What has happened? Why is it that those cases have not been prosecuted? Why is it that the ZESCO tender contract with the Zambian has only been followed through, involving $107 million? Why is it the ZAMSA wastage, about the 60 containers marooned in Makeni, has not been investigated? We were told one of the PSs was fired from the Ministry of Health on the basis of corruption. That case has died naturally. What is the problem? We were told that Madam Silva Masevmo was found wanting. What did we see from the UPND administration? They transferred that to the Ministry of Land. So the only thing they're capable of doing is to transfer a problem from one ministry to another problem. But is this the kind of leadership that we need in this time and age? Zambia deserves better, and we present ourselves as leaders who are ready to make a difference in terms of the national leadership.
And the HH remains firm in fighting corruption. I think if you remember, even in his last address at Parliament last week, he did mention that we remain determined, we shall remain firm, we will not be distracted in terms of, or detracted rather, in terms of fighting corruption. And he calls on people like you from the opposition, the ruling party, MPs to work together, the traditional leaders, let's come together and fight those who may have, stolen public resources or those who are committing a crime. Why the rule of law, HH, seems to be very determined. Let me just take you through, before you react to that, let me just take you through some of the names that, of course, we came up with. These are just generic names of the people that, of course, others are behind the bars, others have been released, and others are still in court. So the list goes on as of 2025, from 2021 up to date. There is Nixon Chilangwa on top, who was jailed under the UPND. Ronald Chitotela is jailed. We have Bowman Lusambo jailed. We've got Kambwiri Chishimba jailed. We've got Munia Zulu jailed. We've got Maureen Mawonga jailed, and of course, as we speak now, she's out on bail. There is Pastor Duncan Simchimba, a pastor as well from Kitwe, jailed. There is Mumbi Piri, who was at some point jailed and released on a nolle prosequi. JJ Banda is in exile as we speak. Given Louis Katuta in court. Dr. Fred Membe of the Socialist Party is in court as we speak today. We've got Kasonde Mwenda jailed. Rafael Nakachinda in court and jailed as well. Emmanuel Mwamba in exile. We've got Brebina Changala in court. We've got Binwa Mpundu in court. We've got Savoy Imboela arrested and out. Esther Lungu in court. Tasila Lungu in court. Dariso Lungu in court. Chieso Lungu in court. Edith Nawakwi arrested, and the late, may her soul rest in peace, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, of course, the late, may his soul rest in peace as well. We've got Chanda Chisanga, ECO's, late ECO's ADC in court. We've got Chris Zumani Zimba, who was jailed at some point, of course, is as we speak today, at least is out. Joe Malanji jailed, Fredson Yamba jailed, Kingsley Chanda is in court, Celestine Mukandila arrested and out as we speak today. We've got Jen Chisenga arrested. We've got Andy Luki. These are the young people now. Andy Luki in court. We've got Thompson Perry arrested. Jason Mwanza arrested from the John Z family. Thomas Zulu from the Gen Z family arrested. Thompson Luzende arrested. We've got Chanda Chikwanka from the Gen Z family arrested. Luzende, of course, from SP. As I mentioned earlier on, Derek Chilundika from the UPND arrested. Dr. Magwende from that's former PS, Minister of Information, arrested. We've got Amos Chanda from the UPND arrested and, of course, set free. Faith Msonda, business lady, arrested. We've got Dan Pule arrested. We've got Peter Chanda arrested, out. Waimi Kapwepwe arrested. We've got Stadi Mwali arrested. We've got Stephen Kampiongo arrested and out. Kampiongo's wife jailed. We've got Thomas Ziambo is arrested and in court. List goes on and on and on, and of course more names might have been left out. Look, this is the rule of law. Which, do you describe this as a rule of law as President Hakainde mentioned?
The rule of law in this country has been diluted, and when you look at that entire list, 90% of it doesn't speak to the rule of law. Most of those people who have been convinced, so not convinced, but who have been convicted, would not be in jail today if there was a rule of law. Look, how do you explain a scenario where you're accusing Honorable Nixon Chilangwa, a differently abled person, that he would get a matchbox and get some petrol and delete some vehicle and set some vehicle ablaze, and then he ran away? He outruns the people who are able-bodied. Look, if you convicted Honorable Nixon Chilangwa, Zambian people will give you a benefit of doubt. You convict Honorable Chitotela, that the entire cabinet minister was at a scene to set ablaze a motor vehicle. Maybe if you convicted Honorable Chitotela on the charge of corruption, perhaps the Zambian people are going to give you a benefit of doubt. The list is endless.
Yeah.
The list is endless. Look at some of these, Chimba Kambwili and his statement. Look at what our colleagues in the UPND members have been able to say against, and then you pitch that was their statement against Chimba Kambwili's statement. Look at those young UPND young people in Northwestern who were able to insult our late former president. What action has been done? Nothing. So when we say there's a segmented way which has been adopted by our colleagues in the UPND in terms of the governance system, these are the pointers. But you see, money, power, and influence has got an expiry date. Next year, all of us, we will parade ourselves before the Zambian people, seeking for a job from the Zambian people. For now, we are all powerful human beings. As politicians, sometimes we forget that the people with real power are the Zambian people. Political office, we owe it to the Zambian people. But when we're engaging the Zambian people and the ordinary person on the street, we get to present ourselves as though we are the one with power, and yet the power that we carry is a borrowed power. And I want to appeal to the Zambian people that next year, please, like the people in Malawi, let's rise to the occasion. Right now, there is the so-called pre-voter registration exercise taking place. Let's participate. When we are done with the pre, we come to the actual registration of the voters. Let's participate, because that's the only weapon we have. That's the only tool we have in our hands to communicate our dissent on many other governance issues. And we only have the next couple of days. I know for now you are lost as to who to vote for. We are available. Just in case none of the political players are meeting your expectation, I have faith in the Lordship of our good Lord that even at the very last moment or minute is going to raise a voice of reason. It's going to raise to a leadership that will respond to your aspiration. But one thing that I know, that next year there's need for change. In 2021, we had change without real change. But in 2026, we need to effect some meaningful change. That will carry every Zambian along. That was going to unite the entire nation. Right now, the nation is divided. And there's a couple of evidences that we can point to, but I don't think we have the luxury of time to be able to dwell on those issues. But it's public knowledge. We all know where we are sitting as a nation. I can only hope and pray that the good Lord will give us the grace to be able to move into some useful direction.
There's a perception out there from either the ruling party or members of the ruling party, as well as some people from the opposition, or rather maybe even just ordinary citizens out there, will tell you that in as much as, yes, we have got elections next year, we don't seem to be decided as a country which political party or which vehicle to vote for. You've mentioned that the Socialist Party were available, and others will tell you that you yourselves as well as a Socialist Party, and also all the opposition, inclusive all of you seem to be in a confused state yourselves.
Well, it's not every confusion which is bad confusion.
Right.
Sometimes some confusion carries with it some positivity. And sometimes it's not everything that glitters which is gold. There's a perception that is confusion. Well, every human being are entitled to their own opinion. So there's that public opinion to the effect that in the opposition there's confusion. But one thing that I know is that, yes, there are certain gaps, and I'm calling them gaps,
right,
because this can easily be fixed. But the opposition in entirety is resolved to respond to the call by the Zambian people. And the call from the Zambian people is that we ought to work together. Any opposition political party which will not respond to this call is against the masses of our people. There is a need for a greater sense of humility amongst our political leaders. You cannot all lead at the same time. But also there's need for all political players to confront the challenges of our time with a great sense of humility. Time and chance happens to us all. We are all leaders even without titles. Nothing stops me from supporting you if it is your time, Comrade IP. And ultimately, the Zambian people should be able to tell us who they think is capable to lead us at a moment such as this. A number of people have asked me a question, oh, why are we not seeing you in Matelo? I said, look, it's not a monarchy. It's Matero is an urban constituency. I need to consult them. Am I relevant to provide leadership at such a time as this? If the people of Matero tells me, no, this is not your time, I need to step down. So I can't just present myself when I've not been invited by the people in Matero, for instance. I need to speak to the Zambian people. I need to speak to the people in Matero. When they tell me, hey, we need you, then I present myself. Same applies to our various opposition political party leaders. You cannot all lead at the same time. The Zambian people will have a final say as to who ought to be a leaders amongst all of you. And sometimes it's not about the very best amongst you, no. Sometimes it's about time. Even if it calls for us having to elect the very least amongst all of you.
Is Socialist Party, are you yourselves ready to be led by any other political party? Nani, peradventure, this leader was emerged, and then they want Socialist Party to rally behind that person away from your camp.
By the way, as Socialists, we don't over-celebrate titles. Remember, I said we are all leaders even without titles. When I walk into KBN, the person that cleans up this place is a leader. Without them, you and me will not be able to sit here. So to exclude them from the point of leadership is rather an unfortunate position. So you can be a title, you can have a title and yet you are not a leader. So titles and leadership are two different things. And any leader who is not willing to be led, they are not ready to lead others. The greatest test of any leader is that they must be willing, first of all, to be led before they can begin to lead others. And that's why I'm saying it is important for our political party leaders to address this alliance subject with a greater sense of humility. If all of them are not going to be humble, we are going to betray the Zambian people's aspiration. Because the Zambian people have spoken. There's need for a united opposition in this country. There's need for all oppositions to come together. So why would any leader with their sword walk away from this noble call which is being made by the Zambian people?
So in short, you are ready to be led yourselves?
Of course.
Right. There was a time at which, this is a question that you might have answered elsewhere, but I will repeat this for the sake of my viewers out there. There was a time at which you had applied to belong to the Tonse Alliance at a time when Isia was still alive. May his soul rest in peace once again. Where are we today? What is happening in Tonse? We have seen the halabalu kind of, the fightings amongst themselves. Does that application you made to Tonse still stand?
Let me just put things into perspective. Yes, there was an application, a letter of intent.
Yeah.
A letter of intent. And when I talk about a letter of intent, basically there's an intention.
Yeah.
And that letter of intent was responding to the call by the Zambian people for us to be able to unite, come together, and be able to work together. When that letter of intent was written, it was a basis upon which we could engage with our colleagues. It's very unfortunate that we lost a key leader in the name of His Excellency, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, may he solace in eternal peace. But what we had hoped with that letter of intent is that it's going to open up a platform for us to be able to engage. Because you cannot go into a marriage without talking to each other, agreeing on this and that, relinquishing this or that. So from the time we wrote that letter, there have been a number of conversations, where even before the late president passed on.
Yeah.
In fact, President Edgar Chagwa is a champion, if I'm giving the powers to say so.
Yeah.
He's a champion of an alliance. Because you do remember after him, after he came back into active politics, he made a clarion call, inviting Dr. Fred Membe, inviting Honorable Kalava, inviting KBF, says, please come and let us work together. If President Edgar Lungu had lived to see this day, most of the issues that we're sure having conversation around would have been resolved. But then, in our culture, we say, Pafa Bantu, Pashana Bantu. Even in his death, we need to honor his legacy. I have no doubt in my mind that one day, someday, the opposition will be able to come together and get united. They will find something reasonable enough to unite them. If they can't think of anything, at least the death of Edgar Chagwa Lungu ought to be their reason to bind them together. That which unites them is greater than that which divides them.
Who is going to unite yourselves? Who is going to be in charge? Because it appears all of you seem to have your own different egos around.
For us in Socialists, we are saying we are ready to be led.
Right.
We hope we could get the similar statement from other players. We are ready to be led.
In PF, the modus operandi seems to be different. They will tell you that if you want to be part of us, then you need to be under us. The chairmanship, for example, of the Tonsa Alliance, it will come from a PF leader the party has, or the party will decide.
We have confidence in the leadership of Honorable Given Rubinda. We have confidence in the leadership of Honorable Nakashinda. These are experienced politicians. These are noble and normal human beings. They are aware about the anguish of our people in our communities. They are alive to the circumstances of the masses of our people. They can you afford to place a lot of premium on their personal interest. From the way I know them, these are leaders worthy their position, and I know these are leaders who can make a difference even in such a time as this. They are selfless leaders, and I have no doubt that equally they'll be able to come to stand on any platform and being able to say, look, equally we are ready to be led. Yes, this was a position then, but this is never or is not our position anymore moving forward insofar as meeting the Zambian people's aspiration.
Do you also take or put into account that in PF there's, there are about two groups in there. There's Chabinga this side, there's Honorable Lubinda Rafa Nakashin, as we mentioned, on the other side. There's also Comrade Chabinga, who is a Mafinga Member of Parliament, who claims that is the only legitimate president of the party. Where is your allegiance?
These things happens in a family. There's no family which is without problems. There's no family which has never encountered conflicts. But see, one of the greatest tests of any institution is your ability to come out of a crisis, of your problems, much more stronger than you went in. And this is a point where the leadership of our sister political party is being tested. And as I said earlier on, we have no doubt in their capacity to deal with their own internal issues. If need be, because we know that the UPND have had a hand in manipulating the leadership of the PF. That is public knowledge. That is known. All we would like to say to our comrades, to our friends in the PF, that not all hope is lost. You started the issue of rebranding. And the last time I checked, rebranding means changing your identity. You're already working with NCP. Is it possible that PF can rebrand in NCP? Is it possible that PF can rebrand in SP? Is it possible that PF can rebrand in the Heritage Party? Is it possible that PF can rebrand in the Democratic Progressive Party? Is it possible that PF can rebrand by forming another new party? Everything is possible to them that believes. And I hold a view that the leadership in PF believes in something. I do not know what that something is, but they believe in something. And that something can grant them their desires.
Clearly, you foresaw this confusion, you yourself, from inception of the PF. You moved out of the PF because I think you predicted that there will be a lot of circus and the confusion in PF, because you spoke to these issues. You were among the earliest people to advise the Patriotic Front to have a convention. You know, do you feel vindicated today to what you spoke about?
Well, I'm glad you're pointing to those issues, because I don't claim the light of being a Jewish prophet. But I think I want to thank the good Lord that was able to impress upon my mind to address these issues. And I do remember so vividly that at one point I was told money was a problem, and says, look, when we work collectively together, money must never be a problem where there's an idea.
And you pledged that you would have.
We will work together.
Something.
No, actually, I said we'll work together. Miss Pia heading the committee will be able to raise the 2 million that was needed for us to be able to go for the convention. Had we done that, some of these issues, that the challenges that we are faced, the UPF is faced with today, would not have been there. But then, that is history, and we can't cry over spilt milk. We have a new challenge at hand. I think what is important is how do we deal with the challenges that we are confronted with, without relying on our past initiative, our past glory, our past solutions, because life is dynamic. Yes, what we were advocating for then didn't come to pass, but we're still well and alive. And within our lifestyle, again, we're presented with another challenge. How do we address this? And we are saying to our leadership in PF, look, there's no challenge which is insurmountable. What is important is that we all need to sit at the dinner table of civilization and be able to speak to each other with all forms of human honestness. And when we do that, we'll be able to overcome. And we shall overcome, and there's an opportunity for all of us to be able to overcome. Before
we pick up course, in the next 5 minutes or so, I know the viewers would want to engage us on the program. Comrade Kaunda, let's look at where we're heading to as a country. The next 8 months, we'll be having our own elections. And you've talked about the PF and the confusion that, of course, is going on right now. If you were to briefly comment on the demise of ECL, who was the pillar of the Patriotic Front, the Pretoria High Court and the dismissals of the application to appeal and everything like that. What would be your comment over this issue from the government side as well? The government insisting that ECL, he must be accorded that honor which he deserves.
Issues of death.
3 months plus now.
Issues of death and issues of marriage and issue of the family.
Right.
We can't run away from those elements. That when it comes to marriages, this is a subject of a family. It's an interest of the family. When it comes to death, it's a subject of the family. I want to thank the leadership of His Excellency through the Secretary to Cabinet, who have now demonstrated humility. They have, in the recent past, constantly called for dialogue. The Secretary to Cabinet went at waves' length to curtail the members of the UPND from issuing further remarks in relation to the late former president's death. That's the leadership. And my prayer and hope is that the family of our dear late President, Dr. Edgar Chakalongo, will as well see it fit to engage with the leadership of our government today. Some things are not for us. Some things we need simply to commit them in the hands of our good Lord. I understand that death is painful, but sometimes the good Lord permits us to go through pain that we may pick our own lessons out of our experiences. We have suffered pain. The Patriotic Front has suffered pain. I've suffered a loss of a leader, and so on and so forth. We understand all that, but for the sake of the country, we can learn to forgive, and for any leader, forgiveness is a true mark of leadership. Jesus, since we claim to be a Christian nation, forgave the people who had pitched him up on the cross. One of his final words, he says, "Forgive them, Father." But those were adults, for they do not know what they are doing. So our ability to forgive is a true test of leadership. So to the Patriotic Front family, to the Lungu family, yes, you were offended in one way or the other, but it is divine to forgive. Right. And actually, our ability to forgive others is the basis upon which we must be forgiven. The Lord's Prayer says it all. Forgive us even as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. So my plea to both parties is that let's get to the point where we're able to forgive each other, because none of us is perfect.
Right. A few lessons we Zambians, or in the manner, when I say lessons, I'm talking about just against the UPND, but holistically so, looking at the elections that have taken place in Malawi, how Chakwera, of course, ran the affairs of Malawi in the last 5 years he was in power. Where do you think he might have made mistakes? Where do you think he succeeded? Of course, bear in mind that the results are not yet officially out, all of them. We do not know. Maybe Chakwera might just, bounce back or return the presidency and stuff like that. Well, so I bring this because Zambia and Malawi, they are more like Siamese twins. Malawi got independence in 1964 on the 16th of July. Zambia, 24th of October 1964 as well. So you realize that there are some similarities.
A lot of similarities. And that's very true. That's very true. Look, I want to take this opportunity to celebrate the courage of the Malawans. Unlike Zambians, Zambians are more diplomatic. Malawans are aggressive in confronting the challenges of their time. You do remember that I think in Southern Africa, it's only Malawi whose judiciary has nullified a presidential election. The only country, unprecedented in an African space. Other than that,
that was the 2020.
Of course, and from there then we had the current leadership, which is also being shown an exit door.
It also came via an alliance.
It came also, yes, of course, came through an alliance. But you see, we need Africans. We as Africans, we need to demonize this myth around power, that what we say when we're outside power, on the occasion of us getting into power, we tend to do completely opposite thing from the things that we promised our people. And such is the situation with the outgoing President Chakwera. He, like President Hakainde, promised a lot of things. He was as eloquent as he was passionate.
He's an outgoing president.
Of course, the numbers don't lie. I mean, it's very clear from where we are standing, and actually we have a parallel, voter tabulation, and we are getting feedback from our colleagues in Malawi. It's very clear. His Excellence is a former president, and the former president is bouncing back through what the Zambian people call Alevwe Lapo. So now Lapo, Professor Mutalika, Peter Mutharika. But, you know, 2 years ago, had the privilege and the benefit of meeting President Chakwera. And we said it to his face that from the feedback we are getting from the Malawian people, it was not sitting well. I think myself and Professor Lumumba met President Chakwera some 1-2 years ago, and we are grateful to the outgoing president for giving us the opportunity to have an honest conversation with him.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with a number of African leaders. We are saying the same thing to President HH, that the Zambian people are not happy with your style of leadership. He's not giving that submission some form of attention. And is waiting for a day when Zambian people are going to react. They are going to stand up in defense of their democracy. In this state, in demonstration that this particular demonstration has failed them and has failed to meet their aspiration. That's what he's waiting for. We've told this government, please stop exporting power. You can't continue exporting power to Namibia and Botswana when your own people are lacking needlessly. So, when they're not benefiting from the production of power in their own jurisdiction, why is it that your focus is money? Are you running Zambia PLC, and that Zambia must be able to post a profit? No, that's not the way. We know and we understand, President HH, that you are an accomplished business person. But the country is not a company. So don't run Zambia PLC so that you're able to post some profit. No. Governance is about social service. Your own people requires the energy that you are exporting. We said the same thing when it came to export of maize. That the moment we prioritize money over the material condition of our people, we're exposing our people to very punitive, punitive and ugly situation. We saw the price of minimum going up because our government got excited. There were a lot of offers from Tanzania and the DRC, and we saw the defense minister saying, "Yeah, we made so many billions out of maize export, maize which they did not grow, maize which they did not provide, farming input." All because they are driven by money and they're excited about money over and above their citizens' interests. That's not a way to govern. Good leaders places a lot of premium on their citizens' interests. I am proud of my brother and my colleague in Burkina Faso who has registered a position to say, look, our natural resources must be able to benefit the locals first before any other citizen outside our jurisdiction. Those who come to buy our resources must be able to buy them at our terms, not on their terms. Investors who want to invest in our country should be able to invest on our terms and not at their terms. Now we have a situation where the Copper Belt and Northwestern Province, the so-called investors, the only thing they are leaving are holes, damaging our environment, and yet the immediate community cannot even benefit from their nature, from their God-given natural resources. Where is our leaders? Where are the mains in times such as this? Where is that voice of reason which is able to protect our interest as a nation and champion our people's interest? I look forward to a time, comrade, when we shall have men and women of this great country in prospect who will stand up in defense of our sovereignty, who will stand up in defense of our natural resource, who will stand up and defend the interests of the masses of our people, who will stand up and speak to the material conditions of our people in this great country in prospect.
All right, let's hear from the viewers as well. You can call me, the number is right on your screens. I have Mr. Kelvin Kaunda coming from the Socialist Party, who is a member of the political bureau of the Socialist Party. He is, of course, a senior politician in Zambia. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program. Hello, caller, good evening and welcome to the program. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Hello?
I can hear you. Tell us your name, please, and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling from Kasile.
Your name again?
I'm Congo Josam.
I can hardly hear your name.
The Congo Josam.
Okay, Josam, please go ahead.
Kaunda mstoka dade. Yufu na UPND na zero manje just moving like a headless ticket. Wewe sio mpefu abona kutani ku Socialist Party of which kuja waibe leader hapo timu UPND I think that offer the mpanda bali konsai. Is a good leader and I think I think he can provide something police kupati watu mtu mfana manenga. Aoneka munga bali peko enda chan but we in the world of this I think we'll provide the one for him.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right. You can call me. The number is right on your screens. Within a minute, you can give your comment, your question, or clarification on one or two things. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Tell us your name, please, and where you're calling us from.
Abraham. I'm calling from Lusaka.
Go ahead. You've got a minute.
Yes. I'm not a prophet, but this is what will happen in 2026. HH will win more than 3 million. In 2026, 2021 he won with 1 million. In 2026 he win with 3 million. In 2021, when HH won, you were shocked. In 2026, you will collapse. You will faint. Why? Because HH has done a miracle. The structuring debts is not something simple. The only problem HH had is the drought. If there was no drought up to this time, I said this no come back opposition, mulibena president, mulaka chabe, you've got no vision. Where there's no vision, people perish. United you stand, divided we fall. God commands, where there's unity, God commands a blessing. Monday, Mudichabe Pante, and the president, who is the vice president, where are you going? You're not going anywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. All right, you can call me. The number is right on your screens. I have in the studio Comrade Kelvin Kaunda from the Socialist Party is here to comment on a number of issues. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
I'm Freddy, calling you from Kitwe.
Go ahead, Mr. Freddy, as you reduce the volume on your TV set.
Can you get me now?
I can hear you with a bit of some distortion because your volume. Your volume is too high. Are you able to reduce the volume on your TV screen?
Okay, now for me now somewhere. Muzanda problem to kwete ina irushe kwa independence kwa kiasi kwa liba yufu wa myuni baba unique so abo bantu muzanda problem to kwete tribalism mule umfefe ndelanda tribalism equalize sana aba nenso aba tribalism ebo twale itaka yake ba maibuye aba bantu bali shupa ero tabaka kinje
Nivesa which
ababene ba maibu yabale tuteka nomba.
Right. Oh, sorry for that, senior citizen. You can call me back again. The number is right on your screens and exhaust your point. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, IP.
Good evening to you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, my name is Malenga from within Lusaka.
Go ahead, Malenga.
So I want to first agree with what the comrade from the Socialist Party has been saying with regards to the opposition uniting. But again, as we unite as a nation, we should also genuinely fight tribalism and this thing of dividing the nation. Today we woke up
to this voice note, which has sent a very clear position that there are a number of people who are preaching tribalism. And so some youths will not have these opportunities with regards to jobs and other issues. So that's just my comments to the opposition, that you've got a very big job and task to fight tribalism as you unite. Thank you, and IP, continue what you're doing with your colleagues there, Comrade County.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you as well. Right, I'll pick up my 2 calls, and then from there I'll allow my guests to just give a few comments, and then we call it a night. The number is right on your screens. You can alternatively send a message via that number or call in directly. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hello, caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, IP.
Good evening to you. Tell me your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm Walia. I'm calling from Kabwe.
Go ahead, Mr. Walia.
I'm Ushimio.
Oh, Walia, I beg your pardon. Go ahead, Madam Walia.
I'm just talking Bemba.
I'm quiet, London Maya.
IP.
I'm quiet.
So teshingisha kulanda nataka kulanda kofi. Kuri abo abacheba bakaunda ti bakateka besu bakawina more than sunshine. Pindi nimolimo tule stafenani kanai twapi mina setwapi shibabe ninga tukachitika washafenirese nkama. Washwenkama niresa bakaunda tukamitotera muntu yosai kwa tamajuzi yakuba IP na mwina mitotera panchi to murebomba. But we are Chiranda Baram totally disagreed with him. Bakafuma kusawe na abantu 3,000 abakavote abakateka omuntu bakwalisa. Napera.
Natotera sana Mayo. Thank you so much. I apologize once again. All right, I'll pick up my last caller and then we wind up the program. You can call me. The number is right on your screens. I have Comrade Hakainde from the Socialist Party. He is a senior member of SP. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Tell me your name and where you're calling us from.
Yeah, I'm calling from Mpika.
Mpika, go ahead. Your name, first of all?
Yeah, this is Mr. K.
Mr. K, go ahead.
Yes. Mr. Hakainde, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes. I've heard all the conversation and I'm happy with what you are doing, Mr. Hakainde. Mr. Hakainde? Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is we've got a lot of issues. We can't say the UPND will go through 2026. It's not an easy thing. It's very difficult according to the promises they promised us. When you come here to Mpika, there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of cadres. They've got guns. When you go to the tunnel there to look for gold, when you are coming out, you find a cadre from UPND with a gun. They will start searching you. But they are claiming that they are no cadres. But now I want to find out when they say we've removed the cadres, because what moved PF was the cadreism. PF worked 100%. The only thing they failed was the cadreism. Now, what we want is now this Zambia is to unite like the way in Malawi they are doing. So we are pleading to Mr. Hakainde. I'm talking on behalf of my people here in Mpika, with my Honorable Kapianga. If at all you, the opposition, you can unite President Freddie Mende President Ali Kalaba, the president who's going to be chosen if the PF they go for convention. Let them sit down and choose one. Not to kwata kariakatira no bantu inemi apandefo na ino kwa president. Let us remove this government, because I'm telling you, this government is going to be destroyed. They are going to destroy us, I'm telling you. We are really in trouble. Look of the farmers, they are crying. They are crying. There are a lot of things that we can talk. But anyway, let me give others the chance to talk.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. We appreciate you as well. Right. This marks our last caller this evening. Comrade, you may want to react to one or two comments.
Okay. Well, I think the rest of the callers are agreeing with me, and also they are acknowledging the fact that we have a problem, and this problem must be fixed next year. And this problem goes beyond just the president, goes all the way to our choice of members of parliament. It's surprising that some of the members of parliament who've been in parliament for more than 30 years, they still want to come back as parliamentarian. The question is, what is it that they want to come and do which they have not done after 30 years? Democracy demands that you learn your less and you pass on the baton of leadership to the next generation. As a leader, you are not successful until your successor succeeds. I don't know why the political leadership is about me and me and me alone. It's not about others. It's bad leadership not to groom others to take up leadership from you. If you can be the only leader in the community, the only leader in your constituents who should be elected over and over and over again, then it means only one thing, that you're a bad leader. A good leader invests in grooming up the next set of leadership for the next generation. So going into 2021, please, Zambian people, reject those that have been in leadership for more than 20 years. Let's retire them. Let them go to the farm and do other things. They can't just live their entire life around political leadership. No. When are they going to provide leadership at family level? When are they going to provide leadership at church level? So, yes, we can learn a lot of things from Malawi, but that one thing that we will not learn is a lesson that we must bring back those who are above 85 years old. That's not a good lesson. Otherwise, if those who are around 85 years have to come back and lead us, by the time they are retiring, they'll be under 90 years. If they go for another term, they will be 95 years old. Are we sure we're doing the correct thing? Coming to the other colleagues from UPND.
There is a free invitation, by the way.
Yeah, the first one was inviting me to go and join UPND.
And there's a position pending.
Well, I didn't get a position. Well,
yeah,
thank you.
Mentioned that we can give you a position.
Thank you, my brother, for the invitation of you wanting me to join UPND. But we can all contribute without even having to be UPND members. And right now, I'm contributing to the governance system of our country. I don't have to be a UPND member in order for me to contribute to the governance system. If we all become UPND, we'll be reduced to praise singers who can't tell the difference between their left leg from their right leg. I don't think that's a space you want me to be. You would rather have me in this space where I'm able to raise the issues. If UPND wants, they can act on some of our concerns. And if they do, I'll be the first one to praise them, and I'll be happy. But this is not about me. It's about the country. It's about living in the material condition of our people generally. So when the UPND succeeds, all of us will have succeeded as citizens of this great country in prospect. So I appreciate your invitation of wanting me to join UPND, but I think I'm better placed where I am so that I can effectively contribute to the governance system of our country. Otherwise, if I do, we'll all be reduced into praise singers. The other gentleman was addressing the issue of
opposition unit.
Opposition unit.
Yeah.
One day, we are going to get together one day. Sometimes it is dark it's darkest before it is what? It dawns?
Yes.
So such is the experience of the opposition. We're going through a darkest moment, and each one of us have their own evening in their own individual spaces. So right now it's an evening in the life of the opposition, but I have no doubt in my mind that in the foreseeable future, or in the future ahead of us, we will find a reason to come together. And I've already given an indication. If we cannot find any possible conceivable reason, let the death of His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu be the reason for our unity. At least he's a champion of unity. Before his death, and I said it earlier on, he invited a number of opposition political party leaders. He invited Dr. Fred Membe, invited KBF, Wakalava, and many more. In his speech, in case some of you didn't have the opportunity to listen to his inaugural speech, when after returning into active politics, please go back and listen very carefully to Dr. Edgar Chagwa's inaugural speech at the instance of him coming back to active politics. May so rest in eternal peace.
Embassy Party,
so
yes,
exactly. Let's pay attention. At least if we cannot be moved by anything else, let that speech be the reason why we'll be moved to give up on ourselves and find that as a reason for us to be able to come together and be able to work together. And as I said earlier on, we have everything to lose if we work in isolation. We have everything to win if we work in unity. Because the more we are, the better we are. The stronger we are, the more wiser we are. So please, to all opposition political party leaders, far and wide, if ever there was a time we needed to come together and get united, now is that time. Now is that moment. Now is that hour. And any opposition political party leader who is going to tow a different path away from this position, he's an enemy of the Zambian people, is an enemy of the masses of our people. In conclusion, I want to appeal to the Zambian people. Next year is your year. It is important that you take next year's election with a great sense of responsibility. It is important that you rise to the occasion so that your voice may be heard. It is important, if ever you have never voted in the history of this country, next year is that moment for you to participate in choosing the leadership of this country, because success and failure is premised on leadership. Nations which rises on the basis of leadership. Nation which falls on the basis of leadership. So success or failure is a subject of leadership, and therefore you and me, can you afford to pay a blind eye when it comes to choosing our national leaders, whether councillors, whether members of parliament, whether mayors, whether running mate, and better still, whether a president. Next year, Zambian people, just like Malawans, it will be your moment, and make the most of that opportunity. Mulesa mipale, Mungu amdaliseni, kulije, 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 kulije. May God bless you.
Comrade Keke, thank you so much for coming to the program.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for the privilege.
Thanks. All right, Sabine speaking to a member of the political bureau of the Socialist Party, in the name of Comrade Kelvin Kaunda, discussing a number of issues on the bigger program. We'll be back again next week with other topics as well as different conversations which will be lined up. Thank you so much. This has been IP. May God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa. Good night.